All righty. Good morning, and how are we doing today?
Let's try to flip this thing quick and put the trash can out there.
I hear someone.
Hello, morning.
Yeah. Who else am I hearing back in the background?
Morning, James.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
I'm trying to get everything situated here. So you guys gonna have to excuse me because this is not my, what do you call that? My forte. Okay, so this is just shooting from the hip. We're gonna ask a bunch of questions. We're gonna be live streaming and figuring out where we're gonna go from here. Let's get this thing set up. So everything looks good so far. All right, so I'm gonna mute everybody in the background, and then we'll take questions. Okay, not that, that's not what I want. This is what I want right here. I don't know what the hell we're doing. All right, well, good morning everyone. My name's James. This is Dividend Stock Talk, brought to you by the 10-Minute Trader. I'm not gonna say hi to everyone at the moment. See if we have any questions down here. Questions, just getting started. A lot of people just joining in. Okay, nice haircut. You like that? Thanks, Joe. Gets a little bit out of control after a while. So basically, what we're going to be doing here today is we're going to be talking about, number one, what I do, okay, investing for weekly cash flow, looking for that safe, predictable, consistent 1% per week. And we also have a special guest on today. It's going to be Kobe. He's going to be talking about taxes, okay, because everybody's been asking, well, what about taxes? Hold on a second. What wood app do you think Mark Cuban would put his... Yeah, don't even bother me with coins, dude. Don't even want to hear that stuff. All right. Plainly put, like I said, I invest for weekly cash flow, looking for a safe, predictable, and consistent 1% per week. Let me play you the video that probably brought you here. I think this is it right here. And here we go.
Hey everyone, this is James from Dividend Stock Talk, brought to you by the 10-Minute Trader. I'm answering a question you guys have been plaguing me for months. What about taxes?
Voluntary compliance system.
Or is taxpayers who voluntarily pay.
It's in our voluntary tax system.
Our U.S. tax system is a voluntary tax system.
Well, this Saturday, February 1st, Kobe from I Teach Legal Tax Exemptions on TikTok is going to be joining me for something you guys have been wanting to see. Stay tuned for all the details down in the bio. See you there.
Okay, well that was simple, right to the point. What am I doing here? Yeah, moving this thing out of the way. So we are actually live in a whole bunch of different things here. What am I looking for? All right, I'm not quite sure if everyone can see it or not. Hey, Doc is here. How's it going, Doc? Rudy, Zello, all these guys. All right, so go here, right there, and what am I missing? What am I missing?
Where's it, baby?
I'm missing something here.
What?
Is that you watched?
I'm missing something.
Do not touch.
Trying to find out, how do I get Kobe on here? All right, first and foremost, level up. How you doing? Okay, this is really not my thing. Okay, let's get this out of the way. And let's get this out of the way. Let's get that out of the way. Get that out of the way. You don't need that. Don't need this. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. I'm going to mute that so it's not interrupting us. Okay, that's muted. Now, good morning, James. Good morning, everyone. I'm still trying to get this thing in order because I'm trying to find my share button. Where is my share button? There it is. Open that wider, and here we go. And okay. Screen 2. All right, Kobe, you about ready to jump on? Can everybody see okay?
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Can everybody else hear him? Just you know, quoting the what do you call that thingy?
Yeah, we can.
All right, all righty, all right. Let's make this bigger right here. Here we go. And everyone can see the screen. Says Big Rick on there. Laurie, how are you? All right.
Not seeing any screens.
You're not seeing any screen? Holy shit. All right, hold on. Okay, so what are we seeing now?
Now we can see.
Okay, we're seeing Sir-
Which one?
Sirius XM. I think that's what you should.
We're seeing. You're taking which one?
All right, so now I want to pull up the zoom so you guys can see that. And what screen is that on? All right, all right, all right. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Okay, that's right there. Yep, figures Jacob's not here to help me out with this damn thing. Screen 1. Okay. So you're looking at this right here, which says Zoom meeting, all that stuff, right? All right. So
Yes.
how am I going to get this over there? All right. That's me right there. All right, Kobe, you want to share your screen?
Yes. Do I need to be admin section for my screen?
No, you just share your screen. That's basically all you're doing.
Perfect. And what should I share going to the presentation?
Yeah. Well, just pull up your what do you call it first? Your logo, so I can make sure it's on the screen properly.
Here we go. Can you see?
Nope, I don't see anything. That's one thing I hate about this damn thing.
Try to share this.
There we go. I think that's it now.
Yep.
Yep, you're live now, Kobe.
How about now?
All right. Yep. Ava, this is being recorded. Kobe, this is all you now.
All right. I can't share screen. It says only hosts can share this meeting.
Well, I can share. I can see you now.
Okay. Did you just want me to show my background? Do you want me to
Yep.
share my desktop?
Yeah. See, show your background. That says iPad number 2.
All right. Is it possible to click my name with participants and make me a co-host?
Kobe, you're asking the wrong person. This is not my expertise. I know how to stand in front of a camera, and that's about it.
Okay. So I think it's co-host to talk to, but it says only those can share this meeting.
We got to get you a new microphone, dude. You're breaking up.
You have to allow this to share a screen, James.
I do.
Yes. Select me in the participants list and it should say co-host.
Okay. All right. You should be able to share your screen now.
Okay, perfect. Yes, yes, I can. Alrighty, can everyone see my screen?
I see blackness.
I see your screen as sharing. Are you sharing screen as well?
No. That's all you now.
Let me try again.
You had it there, Kobe. Now go back.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Awesome.
Yep. This is. I'm gonna apologize, you guys. Now, this is not my expertise. You know, you put me in front of a camera, I can talk, I can point, but you want me to figure the damn thing out? That just ain't happening. Okay, what are we talking about? Forex world. We're talking about taxes.
Perfect.
Breaking up.
So,
Oh shit, taxes are using method. Okay, where can I find a calendar that showed Thursday? Not worried about that at the moment. Do I need to join your Zoom? You can either watch it here or you can join on the Zoom. It's a better view, blah, blah, blah. All these questions. We can hear. Good. XRP, we're not doing that today. AIRS is crazy. Yep. Okay, what are we talking about? Okay, all right. It's not 9 p.m. No, 86, it's not. We're doing a special on taxes today. What are your thoughts on AGNC? We're going to do that later on, not today. Right now, we're talking about taxes. Kobe, I'm going to hit the questions as they pop up. So, it's all you now, Kobe.
okay, perfect. Well, thank you all for your time. Today I want to share some very, very valuable information that, if used properly, can be quite life-changing. I'm going to be showing you some very legal tax elimination strategies that most CPAs, most tax advisors have overlooked. I'm going to be showing you, no matter how much or how little money you make, how to make 100% of your income non-taxable using strategies that have been written into law by the U.S. Congress. So today I'm going to show, the first thing I guess I'll show is a video, a testimonial from the IRS Commissioner in Congress. And I want you to listen specifically to what he says.
That as these discussions occur, it's damaging to the morale of those people. It's probably ultimately damaging to the sense of voluntary compliance, which underlies our entire tax system.
Voluntary compliance. We have a voluntary tax system in the United States.
There is no...
I'll play another video.
I'll accept it from the Internal Revenue Service. And our service is based on voluntary compliance, a faith and belief that the service is on their side.
I can hear you.
But every American, if we're going to have voluntary compliance at the high rate we continue to have in America, it's got to be perceived as a fair system. That what's asked of me is also asked of him or her. And our voluntary tax system depends on our taxpayers trusting that it works fairly.
The most important measure to me is the voluntary compliance rate. Going forward, are they voluntarily compliant as opposed to what they did in the past?
The very functioning of the federal government depends on the American people's willingness to voluntarily pay the taxes that they owe.
To having to prove themselves again after they already did with voluntary tax compliance.
So being able to communicate with them in language, on writing, online, and whatnot is very important to us. That helps the front end, which helps the voluntary compliance rate.
We believe also that lack of congressional support for the IRS could adversely affect individuals' attitudes towards participation in our voluntary compliance tax system.
And what is the purpose of an audit conducted by the IRS?
To hopefully make sure that people, when they are voluntarily complying, are complying with the statutes.
To me, voluntary compliance is really the name of it.
It's a voluntary tax system. I won't spend too much time on this video. Let me give a brief disclaimer. The following information in this presentation is for education use only. It is provided to you with the understanding that the author is not engaging in legal, financial, accounting, tax, or any other type of professional advice. All decisions made based on the material in this presentation is ultimately done at the discretion of the attendee. The author assumes no liability whatsoever. You're not allowed to copy, record, or use any of the information that is contained within this presentation for any purpose whatsoever, and without the express written authorization of Wells guaranteed. This presentation is copyrighted.
All right, so basically, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. So everybody, as you can see, there's a whole bunch of IRS past commissioners and current IRS employees all stating the exact same thing. The taxes here are voluntary. Now, I'm not telling you guys this is the avenue you should take, because there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. One, tax professionals such as a tax advisor or a tax strategist will help you out. This is just another avenue that's available. So we're going to continue here. Kobe, we're not going to go into huge detail of how to do it. This is more or less feel for how people perceive the information that we're going to be presenting to them. Now, this is not something we're not trying to sell anything today. Today, we're just informing you, and then you guys give us an idea of what you think the best way for us, the presenters, to present this information to you. So go ahead, Dick. Go ahead, Kobe.
All right, perfect. Today we're going to be covering a process called the 12-411 process, a proven legal process to eliminate the annual income tax liability for the great people of America. 6 years in counting with this process with a 100% success rate. All right, so here's what we're not going to cover, though. I have to give another disclaimer. We will not cover how to hide or not declare taxable income, how to opt for a lot of obscure tax deductions, how to participate in tax evasion schemes, how to cook your books, how to violate federal, state, or local laws. Lastly, we will not cover how to deceive, defraud, lie, or misrepresent yourself to the U.S. government. If that's what you were thinking was coming next, please take that out of your head. So everyone wants to learn how to opt out of this voluntary tax system, but what would make you ineligible for that program? Being employed by the federal government. Government employees have to pay taxes by law. Those receiving benefits from the federal government. People living within federal territory, like DC, Puerto Rico, Guam, etc., cannot participate in this program. However, state and local government employees, they still qualify for this process.
Okay, hold up 1 second, Kobe. Now, when you say receiving government benefits, is that like Social Security or what is that? Blue Cross, Blue Shield, or anything like that?
No, none of those insurance programs. So if you have Social Security, Medicare, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, those insurance programs aren't counted. What they're talking about directly is income. So mostly think of it as being employed by or receiving income directly from the federal government, not in the form of retirement or insurance programs or Social Security.
Outstanding. All right.
Mostly think government employees, active duty military, who that applies to.
Okay. All right.
Perfect. So here's a small fact about the nation's biggest tax collector that not everyone knows. The federal tax collector, the IRS, is not an agency of the federal government, and the federal government has stated so in open court. This fact was presented in the United States Court of Appeals, Second Circuit. The case is Schultz versus the Internal Revenue Service in 2005. And to take things a step further, the IRS cannot apply force against a taxpayer without a court order either. Quoting from the above court decision, absent an effort to seek enforcement through a federal court, IRS summons apply no force to taxpayers, and no consequence whatever can befall a taxpayer who refuses, ignores, or otherwise does not comply with an IRS summons until that summons is backed by a federal court order. A taxpayer cannot be held in contempt, cannot be arrested, cannot be detained, or otherwise punished for refusing to comply with the original IRS summons, no matter the taxpayer's reasons or lack of reasons for refusing.
So I have another question, Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reference guide or somewhat, what do they call it, an index that can you go back one slide?
Yes.
Do you see where it says the U.S. Court and the Schultz versus the Internal Revenue Service? Do you have or can we get available a bunch of different court cases for I'm trying to think of the right word for this, to kind of give us standing, in lack of a better words. That way, if we need to look up the court cases and find out exactly what went on, is there a reference guide for that, or can we assemble one?
Yes, we can go ahead and assemble one. I can go to work with my team to go ahead and assemble something like that. We do have some legal reference in our ebook, which you can find at wealthguarantee.co or at taxreforlife.org.
Okay, so we'll make available for those guys the free tax book you're just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't send that to me, I will post it on the Patreon for the members, and they can just download it from there.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Perfect. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Perfect. So, did you know every year over 80 million Americans do not pay the income tax? That's about 22% of our population, or 1 in 5 people. Now, if it's 1 in 5 people, are they all doing something wrong? Are they all criminals? That's impossible. Or do they just know something that most Americans don't? Did you know that 96% of Americans were born tax exempt, and they actually elected to become taxpayers voluntarily? So if you're an American born in any of the 50 states, you were actually born as a legal non-taxpayer. and you volunteered to become a taxpayer. You elected to become a taxpayer. This election was made without your knowledge or by default consent the first time you ever filed the IRS Form 1040, a tax return. So if you could think back to the very first time in your life you ever filed taxes, you signed a contract with the IRS. And signing this contract locked you into an obligation to file and pay income taxes every single year. This is how you registered for the voluntary program.
I like the way wait. I like the way you say this is the way you volunteered for this voluntary program.
Yeah, I mean that's how they got everyone into it. I mean, how else would they get everyone to pay into the system if it wasn't voluntary?
Well,
Why
I
would
can.
they let you volunteer?
How do we opt out?
We're going to get to that part in a second. How do we opt out? But I can almost guarantee you with 100% certainty, nobody ever told me, James, by signing this, you are volunteering to pay your taxes every single year for the rest of your life. Nobody told me that.
Yeah, that's how they get everybody.
All right.
People always often ask me, especially my TikTok comments, what about Al Capone? Well, they couldn't prove Al Capone did anything else, but you know what they had? His signature on a tax form. The guy didn't file for years.
Okay, wait a second. Wait a minute. Let me tell you something right there. You mentioned Al Capone. Al Capone got up for tax evasion. That's what they tell you. If you read the fine print of that court case, it was fraud. He got thrown in jail for fraud because he signed a legal document stating something that was incorrect. Now, we all know if you take all your tax paperwork and bring it to 10 different tax preparers, you will get 10 different answers, most likely.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, they tell you the people were thrown in jail for a one reason, but if you read the fine print, you know that's not the reason. That's what they want you to believe. All right, continue. Sorry.
Yep. Unfortunately, Al Capone had a duty. You know, he volunteered. He signed up for this program. When you sign up for the program, you got to put truthful statement on forms. He tried to evade the law. You know, told lies on his tax forms. That's the only thing they can prove. They had a signature on a document. They came after him. So once you get into the system, you know, you're a taxpayer. We're always reminded that paying taxes is mandatory for taxpayers. That's what they tell us. If you go look it up on the IRS website, they're going to tell you, hey, it's mandatory, yes, for taxpayers. The reason they say that is because it's true. While it is mandatory for taxpayers, they never seem to mention that being a taxpayer is voluntary. Remember, you volunteered to even be one. You weren't born one. Now, how do we know this? Let's check the Internal Revenue Code. So here it is, right out of Title 26. And they have a section called Tax Return Forms and Instructions. So if you have a CPA or a tax person you work with, I kind of keep this in the back of my mind. Why hasn't my tax person ever shown me this before? Let's read what it says. The Internal Revenue Service develops forms and instructions that explain the requirements of the Internal Revenue Code and regulations. The service distributes the forms and instructions to help taxpayers comply with the law. The tax system is based on voluntary compliance, and the taxpayers complete and return the forms with payment of any tax owed. So that comes right out of the basic tax return forms and instructions. We have a tax system, yes, but that system is based on voluntary compliance, which gives you the freedom, if you choose, to opt out and be in accordance with the law. So I'm going to go ahead and skip past these next couple of slides here. And we're always told, you know, we have to pay our taxes every single year. What we pay into the tax system is not even considered a tax. To those people like us who pay it, we consider it a tax. But to those who collect it, they consider it to be nothing more than a gift. And that's put in the U.S. Code over 10 plus times. Here are 3 examples of when they specifically state the taxes you pay are a gift. Right out of 15 U.S. Code 1523, they say, for the purpose of federal income, estate, and gift taxes, property accepted under Section 1522 of this title shall be considered as a gift or bequest, tool for the use of the United States. You can find the same thing in 31 U.S. Code 321B2.
You want somebody to do anything with me?
It's all considered as a gift.
Want me to make copies? You know anything?
Okay, hold on. I got to mute the. Everyone was quiet there for a minute, but then someone jumped in.
No problem. 36 U.S. Code 2307. Once again, everything we pay in income taxes is considered a tax to us.
Keep going. Oh shit! I think I muted you, Kobe.
Yeah, you know, I'm back. No problem.
All right, I muted everyone else.
Why is our tax system based on voluntary compliance? Why is everything we pay in income tax just a gift? Well, because it wasn't always this way. Prior to 1913, the U.S. economy thrived before an income tax was implemented, and it simply worked. We were the world's most prosperous nation without an income tax. So what happened? What happened is the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 was signed into law by former President Woodrow Wilson. The Federal Reserve is a privately owned corporation, and their name, Federal Reserve, is intentional. It's meant to deceive the American people. It's a private corporation run by some of the world's most powerful international bankers and their families. The name Federal Reserve is intentional because it's no more federal than Federal Express. It's no more American than Bank of America. The company that prints our money is a private corporation, not a government entity. And with the creation of the Federal Reserve came the income tax. And ever since the Federal Reserve Act was enacted, and these bankers got the power to print currency whenever they felt like it, 96% of the value of the dollar has been destroyed. And this is where inflation comes from, the rising cost of living, the wealth gap, all these problems that we have today in 2025, their origin was 1913. So, yes, they're responsible for inflation, but what does the Federal Reserve have to do with taxes? Everything. Because the IRS that we love so much, the IRS is the debt collection arm of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is a private corporation which authorizes the U.S. Treasury to print currency, which it loans to the United States with interest. And this is what creates our national debt. Our national debt is so high because every Federal Reserve note that gets printed into circulation becomes an obligation of the U.S. government to pay back directly to the Federal Reserve with interest. And Uncle Sam passes the bill to us. Paying off this national debt to these Federal Reserve bankers is the sole and only reason why we have an income tax. So Uncle Sam basically has an unlimited use credit card, and he gets to spend it. And you and me pay his minimum payment every single year on April 15th. People often say, I'm tired of seeing my tax dollars go to Ukraine. Unfortunately, those are not our tax dollars going to Ukraine. That's money that they print on Monday and send over to another country on Tuesday. The income tax just goes right back to them as the minimum payment for the interest. And Ronald Reagan, believe it or not, was one of the presidents that investigated where does our income tax actually go. And I'm going to read right out of the third paragraph. Where does our income tax actually go? Right in the third paragraph you'll see, or the fourth paragraph you'll see. With 2/3 of everyone's personal income taxes wasted or not collected, 100% of what is collected is absorbed solely by interest on the federal debt and by federal government contributions to transfer payments. In other words, all individual tax revenues are gone before one nickel is spent on the services which taxpayers expect from their government. So the income tax doesn't go toward education. It doesn't go toward building roads, paying teachers' salaries, keeping our streets safe. Nope. 100% of it goes right back to the Federal Reserve bankers. And the average taxpayer pays around $10,000 per year to the IRS on average. And they think it's a mandatory system. They have no idea that Congress actually wrote laws that allow them to opt out of this voluntary tax system. And believe it or not, one of those laws is printed right here on this bill. And it was printed on every single Federal Reserve note up until 1963. It's called the Obligatory Clause, and it comes right out of Title 12, United States Code 411. You've seen the first half of it, which I have in black, where it says, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. Everyone's seen that part. But what we have here in red is truly one of those powerful rights you have, and is redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. This is a secret hidden in plain sight. So what is 12 U.S.C. 411? Back in 1913, when they sat down, created the new laws for the Federal Reserve System, when they created this new monetary system, they had to make new laws. So 12 U.S.C. 411 just describes how Federal Reserve notes, this new currency, should be treated. And since it's kind of long, we're just going to read the green part, the highlighted part. It says Federal Reserve notes, they shall be redeemed in lawful money on demand at the Treasury Department of the United States in the city of Washington, D.C., or at any Federal Reserve Bank. So these Federal Reserve notes, the dollars that we have in our pocket, They can be spent, yes, but they can also be redeemed. Redeemed is a verb, an action word. You have the power to do something. If it's in your hand, you can do more than spend it. You can also redeem it on demand. So why would they print a law on money? What are they telling you? Reminding you that you can redeem your Federal Reserve notes for lawful money. This is what you can redeem it for. This bill, this is a United States note, and this bill is non-taxable. This is the result of redeeming Federal Reserve notes. So Federal Reserve notes, when they came out in 1913, remember the income tax came with it. Federal Reserve notes are taxable currency. However, United States notes, these bills are 100% non-taxable, and you're allowed to redeem taxable currency for these. Do you notice something missing on the bill? I'll give everyone a second.
The green stamp.
Yep. There's no Federal Reserve seal, and the stamp on the right is red. The reason that there's no Federal Reserve seal is because these U.S. notes are not a Federal Reserve currency, therefore not subject to the U.S. income tax that's associated with it. And this is actually written into law. 31 U.S. Code 5115b2 states, United States currency notes may not be held or used for reserve. What does that mean? That means the Federal Reserve, the IRS, cannot profit with this United States note. The only seal on this bill is the U.S. Treasury symbol. That's the only agency that backs it. The Treasury is not a debt collector. And these bills are not subject to the U.S. income tax once again. A United States note is a form of non-taxable paper currency that was printed in physical circulation from 1862 during the Civil War all the way up until 1971 during about the Cold War in the United States. And this was our default currency prior to the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank. So where are they now? We do all this work, but I've never gotten paid in any of these bills. I've never seen any of these bills, these non-taxable notes. Why don't we see them anymore? Because by the order of former President Richard Nixon, lawful money was taken out of circulation in 1971. All currency printed since then are Federal Reserve notes. Now, bankers have actually been ordered to destroy lawful money or United States notes anytime they come in contact with it. If you ever take any of this currency into a bank, for example, they'll never, ever let you walk out with it. They're going to confiscate it. They've been ordered to destroy it. Bankers want to destroy lawful money anytime they come in contact with it because the law allowing you to convert your taxable Federal Reserve notes to non-taxable United States notes, that process still exists. Those laws still work. They're still on the bill. The U.S. Treasury honors it every day. But since the non-taxable paper currency is no longer printed, it's out of sight, out of mind, and this redemption process is now something that's only being used by the financially privileged and financially elite, what we'd otherwise call the ultra-wealthy. The laws allowing taxable Federal Reserve notes to be redeemed for non-taxable United States notes still exists. And this is America's best kept secret. And it's been right in front of us all along. Now, notice the two symbols on the US dollar. We've looked at hundreds of these bills, yes, but I want you to pay special attention. There's a reason they never taught us about money or this bill's behavior when we were in school. When it comes to these two seals, were you ever taught that there's a huge difference between the two of these? The black Federal Reserve logo on the left and the green U.S. Treasury seal on the right. Did you know you always had a choice on which to use, especially when it came to your taxes? There's a huge difference. Let's take a deep dive. On the left-hand side, you have the Federal Reserve symbol. And the use of the symbol means that your income goes to the Federal Reserve system, which creates a taxable event for receiving income. That means, unless otherwise specified by you, any money that you receive into your bank account, they're treated as Federal Reserve notes, which creates a taxable event. Anytime you put money into your bank, it is treated as taxable. And this explains why when you put more than $10,000 into a bank, they can report you to the IRS. Remember, the IRS is the debt collector for the Federal Reserve. You're using Federal Reserve currency. It belongs to them, and they're a private corporation. Of course they're going to be in your business. You're using their stuff. Of course the IRS is going to be watching you. It belongs to their boss. Now, unless you opt out of this system specifically, any money that you receive into your bank account, any money that gets paid to you, is automatically considered taxable. This is why employers take taxes out of people's check, because you signed it to be a taxpayer, and all the money you're making is taxable. The income tax that we pay, consider it to be a service fee or a convenience fee to the Federal Reserve for the benefit of using their Federal Reserve notes. They printed the money, so they're going to charge the government interest. They're going to charge you a convenience fee. That's the price we have to pay for using Federal Reserve currency. Now, you're actually allowed to opt out of this entire system. You're allowed to opt out of using taxable currency, using Federal Reserve notes, having to pay the service fee, the convenience fee, aka income tax, the annual gift. You can opt out of all of that, but it never happens on its own. It's never going to happen on accident. It's never just going to be something that you wake up to. You have to be very deliberate. You have to be intentional. You have to be willful. And you have to follow a step-by-step legal process called the 12411 process. But you're allowed to activate the U.S. Treasury symbol. And choosing to activate the Treasury symbol will bypass the Federal Reserve, bypass the IRS, bypass the service fees, and create no taxable event when receiving income. And this is the process of redemption. This is how you create lawful money by using 12 U.S.C. 411. And this is why they printed that on every single bill, to remind people that you have the right to do this. You're allowed to opt out of your service fee if you feel like it and if you go through the work. So my only point in saying this, James, thank you for allowing me to present. If the audience doesn't take anything away from my presentation, if nothing else stuck with you, remember this. Just remember this. Remember 12 U.S.C. 411. Whenever you receive payment, you have the choice to deposit taxable Federal Reserve notes, like everyone else. Or you can make an active choice to use 12 U.S.C. 411 and deposit non-taxable United States notes. Now remember, unless otherwise specified by you, 100% of the time, your money is taxable automatically. You have to correct them every single time. They're always going to assume it's taxable. So, how do we avoid this taxable event? How do we correct them? You have to choose to redeem Federal Reserve notes for United States notes by using the Great Seal. This is done by using 12 U.S.C. 411. You have to correct them. They're going to assume you want to pay taxes. They're going to assume you want to participate in the voluntary system. You have to correct them and tell them otherwise, and demand United States notes. This money, United States notes, is issued by the United States Congress and is directly authorized by the United States Constitution. This money is also known as public credit. You have to demand it once again. United States notes are not subject to any form of taxable income event ever. So let me pause here. Now that you guys understand this concept, you're allowed to demand non-taxable currency and opt out of the income tax. You've always had this right. You could have done this every single year on your taxes. The fact that this is an option people could take makes everything the IRS does completely fair game. Because they figure, if you don't like it, we already gave you a way to opt out legally. It doesn't matter if you choose to use it or not, you've been given the right. Ignorance is no excuse for the law, unfortunately. If you don't like 37% taxes, Congress gave you a way to opt out. You are choosing to pay those 37% taxes voluntarily now.
Okay, so Kobe, let me put you on hold for a second. We got a bunch of questions I want to address. Yeah, and then we'll give it back to you in a second. So I'm going to scroll up on TikTok all these questions we got. Okay, one, is there a better way? Yeah, there is. Now, let me explain something first and foremost. Some of you people are perfectly happy with paying taxes. Okay, some of you actually enjoy going to see your accountant and with all your paperwork. Now, I've been telling people ever since I started, you have the opportunity to talk with a tax strategist or a tax planner if you want to pay your taxes with the IRS. Perfectly normal. All right, that's what they want you to do. So a tax strategist or tax planner will help you set up your accounts. You can put it now. Kobe, I teach the stock investing, so I'm talking to those people. The money you bring in profits from your stock investing, you can, if you have it in a trust, in a foundation, in a family trust, or a corporation, or a, what's that word I'm looking for? pension fund. Structuring how you do your trading is going to show how much money you have coming in. Now, when you have money come in, that is, in the IRS's opinion, a taxable event if you decide to pay taxes. Now, if it's in a business, you can offset the profits by tax losses, or you can go the other route by saying, thank you for your services, I would like to cancel my subscription. And there is a process, and that's what Kobe's company does. They walk you through that process, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But some of the questions we have, is there a better way? Yes. How should the taxes using this method? Okay, Johnny, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. What are we talking about? We're talking about an alternative way of not paying taxes. What are my thoughts on? Yeah, no, nope. Decent questions. Okay, how long have you been using this app? Kobe, didn't you say 6 years?
Yes, my team's been doing this for 6 years. I'm someone who actually started out as a referral to the company, as a client a couple years ago. I haven't had to pay taxes since 2020. But let me be specific. With this process, you are doing everything the IRS allows you to do and actually wants you to do. You're filing your taxes, you're reporting your income, you're just doing extra work by using the 12411 process to have a $0 tax bill when you do file. So with this process, you're working with the IRS regulations, you're still working with their forms, you're filing your taxes, you're reporting your income, you're just doing extra work that they allow you to do so that your tax bill is $0 every year, simply, easily, and legally. Essentially, this process is just a 100% deduction. So you're making the tax bill zero, you're still filing taxes, you're just opting out of having to pay by doing extra work that they allow you to do.
Okay.
So I wanted to make that distinction.
Yeah, so we're going to get to that in a little bit. Somebody says, nice try, buddy. It doesn't say that last part. I have no idea what that guy's talking about. What about, oh, here's a question. What about when you have to show your tax receipts for things such as driver's license or getting cars insured, stuff like that? Or buying a house? Because they do ask for your tax returns.
Good question. Yeah, so with this process, you still have tax returns. Like I said, you're going to file your taxes with this process. You just do extra work in order to have a $0 tax bill. So you're still going to have the paperwork that everyone wants to see from you. You're filing a tax return every year. You're just using their forms to give them what they want, but keeping your money, getting what you want. It's the best of both worlds. So you're still going to have that paperwork. If someone asks for a tax return, you're going to have one every single year.
Okay, so there's another question. So if you didn't pay taxes, you wouldn't get Social Security because it's a tax? Is that correct?
No, not correct. Social Security is considered an insurance policy. Social Security, Medicare, their insurance policies, annuities, you still qualify for those based on the contribution you put into the program thus far. Think about it this way. You're not going to be kicked off of Social Security because you suddenly stopped paying. Similar to those people who lost their jobs during the pandemic, didn't put in Social Security for 2 years, they're still going to get it, so are you. We're also not opting out of Social Security because that is an insurance program. This deals with taxes only. That includes state and federal taxes. It does not include Social Security and disability. You'll still pay those. You'll still qualify for those because those are technically by law considered insurance. This process does not work on insurance.
Okay. All right. That's enough of the questions that I have here posted online so far, so you can continue.
Absolutely. So what is this process? All the information I've been discussing has to do with taxes. Everything. Because by now, if you've been following, you understand that you can legally claim all of your income as lawful money by using 12 U.S.C. 411. No matter how much or how little money you may have earned, doing this process will completely eliminate your tax liability. It will eliminate your tax bill. So how do we do this for you? We will eliminate your tax liability with the 12411 process on your income tax return. So remember, I said we're still filing taxes. We're still in compliance with IRS regulations. We're just doing extra work to do the 12411 process.
Okay, hold up for a second. Hold up for a second. When you say extra work, now defining extra work is going to be very important to some people because other people might think, well, extra work, what is it, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours? Or is it 5 or 10 minutes just to fill out a piece of paper?
Yeah, no, it's not a piece of paper. It's about a 15-step process that you have to undergo with multiple government agencies to qualify to file your taxes this way. So when you do your tax return, the IRS is going to make sure that you did all the work, you did everything to to qualify for this, but they don't make forms to help you out to do this. All they had to do was write in the law that you're allowed to do this. What they figure for a regular person is if you really want to do it that badly, spend the years of your life reading the tax code to figure it out yourself. They don't create tutorials, templates, or guidelines on how to help you. The company that I work with has a software that automates this entire tax elimination process.
Oh, wait. Whoa. You got to leave it up to the Geek Squad. Come up with a software program that does all the work for you. Love it.
Yep. So in previous years, it usually takes clients about 6 months to get through the process. With the software, it takes people about 2 weeks, but it's about 15 steps with government agencies. When the IRS gets your return, as they're processing it, they're going to go down the list to make sure you did everything. If you don't follow all the steps, of course, that's of course what we call a snag in the process. And it's why if you go on Google, there's so many people who have gone wrong with this strategy. Google's going to let them pop up to the top of the results and be number one. Google wants to show you all the people who did it wrong because there's 99 ways to do this process wrong. There's one way to do it right. We've been doing it the right way for the past 6 years at Wealth Guaranteed with a 100% success rate. But we're able to help our clients by do it by using the software essentially. So there's a software for the process.
Outstanding. Okay, and we're not gonna get into pricing on anything today. What we're trying to do today is come up with a curriculum or a class. I guess curriculum is the best word against it. A study program. So I'm going to be presenting all my stuff. You know, how do you do your investing, all that kind of nice stuff. Now, Kobe, on the other hand, their stuff is all ready to go. Mine's still working out the kinks. So once we get that together, we'll most likely, I don't know about you, Kobe, but you want to do this like twice a month, once a month. What's your feel? And we'll also ask the people in the audience what they would like to see and what they would like it to look like. Because there's a lot of questions. My number one question is, I want to see case law because I want to have something, some kind of reference to go by. Because everyone bitching and moaning this and that and the other thing about, where's your proof? Well, case law is actual proof. And there is a lot of case law out there specifically having to do with taxes. So, again, back to you, Kobe. We can't read that white lettering on top of that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This was black before I converted it to PowerPoint to Keynote, unfortunately. But it says, and what will this process do for you? That's what it says.
Oh, what will this process do for you? Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, if you choose to take this route, if you use this 12-4-11 process, it will eliminate your tax bill no matter how much or how little money you've earned throughout the year. So, what is the effect of this process? Where's the proof? We're going to go over some case studies, some real verifiable proofs, some clients that I've worked with on this process. I refer tons of people every year to this process, usually through my TikTok page or my social medias. These are some of the people I've referred, the results they've gotten. This just substantiates the process, lets people know that this program does work.
Okay. So, Kobe, we got to wrap this up in the next 5 or 10 minutes. I got to be somewhere at noon. I basically just want to, whet people's appetites and give us an idea of where do we go from here? How do we put a class together so that everybody understands what we're looking at? What kind of fluff do we need to get away from? And what kind of actual factual data do we need to supply? So I'm going to leave that up to you guys in the comments, and then we'll assemble something together. Do you have any more stuff to go over, Kobe?
Yeah, I could go over some more, but essentially it's just, more so how this process works. Some successful case studies, some results. These are one of my checks in the past.
Okay, wait. Got a good question. If everybody stopped paying taxes, what impact would that have on the country? Okay, so apparently somebody just joined and they weren't listening to everything. So the taxes you're probably thinking of the roads, the highways, the schools, the libraries, that kind of stuff, well, that's got nothing to do with the IRS income taxes. Okay, that has to do with your property taxes, tax on gasoline, tax on tires, tax on firearms. There's a huge difference between federal tax and federal income tax.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to answer this question, though, because it's a very good question. What would happen? Even though our taxes don't necessarily go toward building roads or paying for teacher salaries, what would happen if there was no income tax? Well, people would wake up and realize that the government doesn't need their taxes to function. When everyone stops paying taxes and the government still runs the same for a year, people are going to realize, hey, they're not using our taxes to fund themselves. They're just printing money overnight. And they're going to start start being very conscious of that.
Okay,
But people,
Kobe, one thing. A lot of people don't know this, but ask yourself this very, very important question. From 1776 to 1913, how did the government function if there was no income taxes from 1776 to 1913? Where did the money come from to run the government?
exactly. How did the government fund itself from 1976 or 1776 to 1913? It was without income tax. If people realized that they didn't need our taxes to fund government, everyone would stop working. People would realize, hey, they're printing trillions of dollars. They've been running on printed money for years. Why would I work hard for $60,000 a year when these people just printed $36 billion and sent it to another country? What would happen is everyone would lose confidence in the dollar. People would stop working. The world economy would crash. So the IRS exists to create the illusion and perception that the work we do is important and that we're contributing to the overall good of society. If people didn't have that faith and belief that their taxes were needed, everyone would just stop working. We lose complete confidence in the U.S. dollar. The world economy would crash. So the IRS is not here to create illusion and confidence in the U.S. dollar. So that's why they created a voluntary system. If you don't want to participate in their games, then opt out. Use the 12-4-11 process. But other than that, you're going to have to participate in the voluntary system to create the illusion that our labor is what funds the government.
All right. Okay, that's awesome shit. Now, what I want you guys to do in the audience is send me emails, send me texts, send me messages. How do you want to see this progress? Where do you think we should go the next step? Besides the list of case law, great. Questions. What kind of questions you guys have? We'll spend the next week or so throwing something together. And then if it's okay with you guys, we got to come up with some kind of a price for this. Because Kobe does have his expenses he has to deal with. You know how I operate. But that being said, we have a lot of information for you guys with this process. Also, there are other processes. If you don't like this one, if you're skeptical, great, fine. You can always talk to a tax strategist or tax planner to do it the legal way to keep you out of trouble. This is just another avenue. Now, I don't remember about you guys, but I don't remember anyone saying, James, this is voluntary. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Okay, I got a question. James, what does this have to do with your trading accounts? Oh, Laurie, what this has to do, that has nothing to do with the trading account. This has to do with the money that you're making from your trading. So if you're making 50 to 100% per year on your investments, the number one question I always get is, James, what about taxes? Well, this is one avenue about taxes. You don't have to pay it if you don't want to, but you gotta follow the steps and you gotta do it legally. That's what Kobe and his company does. Kobe, you got anything else you want to finish up with?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has any questions or wants to discuss an alternate viewpoint or wants more clarity on the process, reach out to us on our website, wealthguarantee.co, or our office number, which is 737-285-4285. I just need to put it up on the screen, actually. I really should.
Yeah.
But yes, my TikTok is also in the comments.
Okay.
Put up the number here.
Yep. Plus, everybody here has my contact information. Also, if anybody needs anything, I can always pass it along to Kobe and his company and what they do. That way it makes it easier for us to create something. Okay, something is better than nothing. Even if our something is not the greatest in the world, at least we have an avenue in which to start and progress forward. I joined your Patreon a year today. Yay, and I have a lot to learn. Okay, thanks. Way to go, Mr. Steve. Okay, other than that, does anybody else have any questions? You got to unmute yourself and just chime on in. I got 4 questions in the chat.
Oh, should I take the chat questions?
Will this be recorded? Yes, this is recorded. Can they deny our request? How do we know the money in our account is actually U.S. notes versus federal notes? Ooh, that's a good one.
No, they can't deny the request. The law does not say it's a request. The law says it's a demand.
Outstanding.
Done properly, there's no pushback. There's nothing they can do about a demand. The way that they deny it is by just having people not know about it, not demand it. Once you demand it, by law, it's going to be honored. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is a demand. It's not a request. That's not written in the law. You're not requesting anything. You're legally demanding it. When you do the process correctly, there is nothing about it that's negotiable.
Outstanding. If everyone stopped paying tax, what impact would have? Okay, I already answered that question. James, this is what you've done with your account. No, my accounts are held in a corporate account, so all the profits from all my profits from my trading is offset by the losses of the corporation. That's another avenue. Do we demand every year, or is this done once?
Very good question. The heavy lifting, the heavy setup is done once, and then you should still do some monthly maintenance. Still do some, practice exercises every month. So you're always creating a continuous paper trail. Once you have that paper trail, it just keeps you fully compliant with the law. There's no reason the IRS will ever question you or go after you if you're using the process pretty often, and we're going to show you how to do that. So it's something that happens in the real world, in the physical world too. A lot of it is paperwork, but a lot of it happens in the real world. When you do that real world application, it's what shows the IRS that you're fully compliant with the process, you're demanding it, they have to back off.
Outstanding. Okay, so any other questions? Other than that, we're going to wrap it up. Okay, I'll have all Kobe's information, how to get a hold of him and his company, and go from there. I like what you're doing here. Thank you, Mac. Kobe, yep. Have you got a course? Actually, we are putting a course together, and this is just kind of like get our feet wet. Talk to you guys. What is it that you need from us in order for us to throw something together to make it an easy A plus B equals C type scenario? So once you guys, whatever questions you guys have, drop it in the DM, send me a text, send me an email, however you want to get questions over to us. We will be putting together a course so everyone will be able to invest safely like I do. And then you can figure out how to not pay your taxes legally. We don't want anyone getting in any trouble. Now, this is just educational, just informative. We always tell people, if you have any questions, seek your own personal guidance. Never trust anyone blindly on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. This is just information. What you choose to do with it, you are responsible adults. Do so accordingly. If you need to talk to an accountant, a lawyer, you do that. But do not say, we said this, we said that. We said this is entertainment and education. Find the answers yourself. Okay? But we are just here to help you point the direction. I can point you to the direction. I can give you the information. But you actually have to do it, and you actually have to be responsible for whatever choices you make. Got anything else, Kobe?
I believe that's it. If anyone has questions, once again, how do we know that the dollar not count as Fed notes versus U.S. notes? What about when we draw cash? They're not going to give you any physical. I'm answering this question in the chat from Paul.
Yep, I see that.
They're not going to give you a physical bill that's different. The way that you know the process is done correctly is that when you do it properly, per the instructions that we provide, the government agencies just flag your account as non-taxable. So they don't truly give you a different form of currency. They just give you different consideration. They just treat your stuff a little bit differently. Everything's mostly done on paper nowadays because they don't print the physical bills. So they just flag your account as non-taxable. They kind of just give you a thumbs up to use this process on your taxes. They're not going to give you a different form of currency. Nowadays, it only matters for the purpose of tax forms and how you input the information on them. So the money in your account is still going to be Federal Reserve currency. It's just not going to be considered to be taxable. They're just going to flag it as non-taxable or treat it a little bit special.
Outstanding. All right, with that, we're going to wrap it up. It's 11:30. Hope you guys learned a lot. All right. Legal team, tax exemption, just follow you. Cool beans. All right, so again, if you have any questions, if you want to give a rough outline of what you think we should be covering, is there any information that we missed that you think is going to be important? For me personally, I like to see a list of as much case law as possible. Okay? And Kobe, if whatever I come up with, I'll throw you into the loop so you know what they're looking for also. And hopefully between the two of us, I can help people with making money. You can help people with not paying taxes, because that's the number one bill. Your house and taxes. Two biggest bills you're going to have.
Absolutely. And the group I work with is going to have a property tax exemption process ready probably at the end of the year. So that's going to come too. Does this make you more susceptible to audits? No. You're going to give the IRS all the information they need. They don't want to audit anyone that has no taxable income. Auditing you is going to be pretty much the same as auditing a homeless person with zero income. There's no profit for them to make because none of your income is taxable. So as long as you give them the proof to prove it, they're going to let you go on about your business. There's no profit in them. There's no profit to make for them auditing you. They're not concerned about going after people who are doing the process the right way. It takes a lot to really opt out, and if you actually do it properly, it's non-negotiable. They don't want to waste time making you prove what you already proved.
All right. Guys, thank you for showing up. Again, if you have any questions, if you want to see something in a structured class type scenario, let us know. We're going to put one together probably. What do you think, Kobe? Week 2, 3 to get something together for everyone?
Yeah.
All right, outstanding. And we'll keep you up to date. And if Saturday mornings works for everyone, that would be great. That's probably when we're going to end up doing it. So that being said, we're going to call it a day. And I do have the whole presentation on recording in 3 different avenues. So I'll make sure I have plenty of copies if anybody wants to see it. That being said, Kobe, you have a great day. Everybody in the audience, I will see you on Sunday night because I'm taking tonight off, and we will see you then.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Reach out to me with any questions.
Okay, ending there. Okay, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you Sunday and Monday. Done there. Done there. Done here. And done over here. You guys have a great day.